So, this is why I think that I'm a danger to the system because I bring innovative ideas. So, if I had the capital, if I had the resources, let's just say I had $500 million, I could allocate to creating a new football game to rival Madden, which there is one out there. I think it's Access Football is one, and there's another one. Those ones are. Let's just say I had that money. Then I took some designers from NFL 2K to help innovate this product. Well, I would go to Hollywood and I would say, hey, listen, I want the licenses for these movies. I want to make these. I want to make these. Let's just say, what is it like? I want to make these characters. Like, I want to bring some of the characters in from a Waterboy. I want to put that football team in my game. I want to. What's another big one? I don't know. Any given Sunday, I need to use these people's likenesses. And it's not just like what it'll do is it'll help the movie too because people would want to watch the movie again. So I would get the licenses, which would be way cheaper than the NFL licenses. It would still cost millions of dollars, but it wouldn't cost hundreds of millions of dollars. And then, so I would get the licenses to be able to create the teams, these movie teams, and make a league out of them. And instead of charging money for the game, I would make it free to play. But I want the best video game I can possibly have that doesn't have the stupid animations. Like when I'm playing Madden or NCAA football, every single time I throw the ball and my receiver jumps up, as soon as he jumps up, I know he can catch it, but as soon as he gets touched at all, he's gonna drop the ball every single time. Like that type of glitch that a lot of people complain about, the animations. Going back to old style and NFL 2K, old style Madden playing, it's more authentic. It feels more real. But I'm going to use these movie actors, their faces, their likenesses, and all that, to basically be the stars of the default uh, league. And then I can use people who died hundreds of years. I feel like I made this video already. Maybe I did. But I would use people who've passed away. Mozart, people like this who have died. Not recently, because that could be like copyright issues and stuff like that. But I think in 75 years that's passed, is you can start using like old stuff for free. So I would use their likenesses and try to recreate them and have like a backstory for them. Implement things that were all in the games before, that Madden kind of trickles in now. They kind of like, oh, we got this feature now, but this was already in like games 20 years ago and everyone's starving for it. That's what I would put in my game. I would make the ultimate game, the ultimate simulation game based off these movie characters for now, and it would be free to play. If I had, $500 million, it would probably, I was gasking AI, it would probably cost around $100 million to make it happen, to make it the game I want with the creators. And another thing I would do is I would go up to any type of celebrity. Maybe it's a free for all. We have to make you for you, but people can download your likeness to the game. And, you could make people at a different price range. The lower celebrities, you can put them in packs and they can get multiple people for less. The more popular people that everyone wants to download, Um, they require more money out of people, more resources, and then you can download them into the game. You have all the likenesses, um, and yeah, it's not NFL, but you can create whatever you want to create um, out of this. And it's not a game that I have to make every single year too. That's the thing, is you don't have to make it every. It's like a Fortnite. You just use stuff that's already out there. Roblox, the type of stuff that they're using to be able to put Madden out of business. You can make, if I can make enough to, if I hypothetically had all this money, I can make enough to sustain. But what I want to do is take away from Madden. That's the goal. The goal is to put Madden out of business, because people would, you would see these famous YouTubers trying to promote themselves so people download to their own universe. People like to watch people play video games. They could do that if they want. They can make their own leagues and have people pay to be in them. And eventually, I think that I would put Madden out of business. I could be wrong. But it's so weird to allocate real capital to my team just to have everything, or my player just to have everything gone next year, and you have to start over from scratch. You don't get nothing out of it. There's no return. But that's what the goal would be, is to put Madden out of business, or at least make them put a decent game out. Make them force their hand to stop messing around. Breed a little bit of competition that's outside of the box. Because you could watch a movie and be like, oh, that's cool, Forrest Gump, I'm watching Forrest Gump, and that's cool, he's in the game. I'm playing Forrest Gump. But there's just lack of innovation. I'm so disgusted in the lack of innovation of video games. Last year, I basically bought every sports game with the purpose of, let's see if these things actually got that much better. Slightly. One of the big things that I wanted to get NBA 2K26 was because I like the idea of when you win a championship, there's the banner. I know it's weird. It's just like it just makes the environment more authentic to my simulation. Stuff like that, just little things like that. Somebody retires, I can put their numbers in the rafters. So like I hit a home run, and the camera zooms out, and then you see that World Series banner, the new one. That's not just you win a World Series on MLB The Show. They don't have a new banner that pops up. You're the 2026 World Series champion. Just little things like that the environment changes. The lack of being able to let us create, to modify the station, the stadiums. And that's what I would let people do. Like, you can modify the stadium. You can download stadiums. We can make stadiums, get licenses to stadiums that don't exist anymore, maybe, if we can do that. If not, that's fine. But you can create your own, and it's not, in the NFL, you really can't. You're just stuck with the same old, like, you want a different stadium, and you get the same old stadium that's been in the game for like the last 10 years. They refuse to touch franchise at all. Don't let us create anything. Um, and it's kind of like I would like to take all the best features of each game, each sports game, and just put it into mine. You go to WNBA on NBA, and it's like, dude, they have the top 100 for women, the records, but you go to MLB The Show and they have the one that's it. The one of the greatest record books out here, and you're not showing the history. That's something that they should be doing, is showing the histories to help educate people, or people that's got nostalgia. I like the idea of what NBA 2K. I think NBA 2K is probably like the best one, because you can go back into time and do the earliest one is the Bird era, but you can go back, and then the rosters aren't what they need to be. They're NPCs on there, but there are some like real players. But you can like recreate history and go back into history. Um, it kind of is horrible, like the graininess. I don't like that. I kind of would rather just be it. You know, it's hard to play the game when it's that grainy. But I would like to go back and relive history, and create a different simulation of what history was. But they refuse to innovate. They have like all of these different things that they can be implementing in these games, but they put out the same game every single year, which, like, I don't buy physical copies anymore. I just download it. And like I said, I haven't bought any games this year. I don't plan to. Besides GTA, I think I'll get GTA, but besides that, I'm not going to get any more sports games. I have all my sports games, and I'm just going to what I do with mine is I have football, which Madden. I got NCAA football, MLB The Show, NHL, NBA 2K, and I have simulations from all of them, even WNBA. And the goal is to be able to. Right now, I'm trying to catch up MLB The Show. I have MLB 2025, so I'm trying to catch my simulation up to current times. And so when a game is played, like, I can go ahead and like, I'm on that day, I can play that game. Like, it's kind of like a real life simulation. Oh, why don't you do something else with your time? Well, I don't have the resources. I'm kind of in a prison. I look at like real sports. You look at real sports, and you see it's just about betting, and you don't know if it's real. You don't know if these people are shaving points. But I've always liked sports, but the simulations aren't what I want them to be. But they can be, But they just refuse to innovate the games because they don't have to. It's just like movies, people still consume. And it's kind of like social media, I'm still using it, even though it's trash. I can easily on YouTube pay for it, so I don't get the ads or whatever. But it's like I don't want to because I feel like they've censored me. So it's like I don't want to. Why I stopped paying for the Twitter until recently. And the only reason I pay for Twitter is like, let me give it a chance. Let me see if things have changed at all. No, it's pretty much still the same. I'm hoping that GTA is like something that really consumes my time, and you know, I don't know. I don't know. I know this video was just talk about how I would get rid of Madden, but I like to talk about social things. I want society to get better. I want things to get cooler. I would like things to be more interesting. And it kind of feels bland, doesn't it? Doesn't things feel kind of bland nowadays? That's why I make my own music. You know, I can easily write lyrics and then plug those lyrics in the AI, and it creates a song. I put in the prompt what kind of music I want it to be, like what kind of style, this and that, and it puts something out. A lot of it is nah, but some of it hits to me, and it gets stuck in my head, and I like it, and I want to hear it again and again. It's kind of interesting to do that. If you haven't done it, it's pretty cool. When you write your own lyrics and you plug it into the AI and they put out something that's pretty solid, if like this type of genre of music you really like, you can actually play a song into your own head. This is how they used to do it in radio. You listen to it a couple of times and it's like, and then a couple more times the radio will play. You're like, oh, that's not too bad. I like that song. It's pretty good actually. At first they didn't like it. I like it. Not too bad. That's what I'm doing because I look at things, the entertainment, everything. So I just have to create my own entertainment. I like to be able to have some control over my teams. My own type of universe. I would like the other humans to, be able to play along. The best would be AI, to be able to talk to AI and make trades with AI. Like you can make negotiations. You know what I mean? It's not where I want it to be. But yeah, it would be better just, humans running a sports team besides just being the computer or whatever. And then I can like live stream. I can live stream with them. We're sitting, we don't have to be sitting next to each other, but like they're doing their live stream and we're sitting here watching the game. Maybe the game's in the background of the live stream or whatever, and we're just kind of cut out. But we're talking about it. We're talking about maybe we're negotiating trades during a live stream. Maybe we're talking about other things that's going on in the league, other teams, what they're doing. Maybe other owners come on to our stream and we can talk. That's where I think things are going to be headed in the future, because I just think that people are going to create their own stuff, their own forms of entertainment, because the entertainment out there is it's just not, it doesn't hold me. It doesn't hold, I think that people like to have some control. We like to be able to, so my idea of the simulation would be not us actually playing the characters, and the video games need to get a way better when it comes to gameplay and how the people move, but letting the gameplay itself, maybe you can take control of the coach so you can call a timeout because you don't like the way things are going. and then putting people in. One thing that I do in my simulation is like with basketball, I see there's a lot of problems with, and I'm not gonna sit there and mess with the sliders, but the people who like to shoot threes, they just like they take the off balance threes all the time, and they're the primary scorer, so they're always gonna take the shot, and it's just like, why is it off balance? Like that's not realistic. Why is my coach not substituting people out when they're obviously tired? Stuff like that. But I want to be able to have control over the players that are on my team. I want to have control over the lineup before I put them out there to play in the simulation. I don't have to have control over like I don't want to control the player because I want to sit back and watch, like a real game. And you can have, whether somebody there in real life or it's a split screen, you guys can be watching your game together. And I think that's gonna put a lot of these sports, like especially real life sports, out of business, or at least rival. Imagine like the WNBA doing that, like these WNBA players being able to join one of their leagues, but it costs a lot of money, obviously. Like they're like, well, so we have, how many teams do they have? Probably like 15, 16. I forget how many teams they have, but I think they're going to have about 18 teams. I think that it's projected for like 20, but I think they're about 15 right now. I think they're sitting at 15. They might be sitting at 17, I forget. I think they're sitting at 17 right now. So there's 17 teams, and it doesn't even have to be a Caitlin Clark. Let's just say like there's another WNBA player that's a prominent figure, that maybe not an Angel Reese, but who's somebody like, I don't know, Brick, I don't know. Anyway, they're running their team, they're running their play. They're not running, but they're running the team that their players on. So they're obviously not going to trade themselves. But you can be in their league. You can interact. Maybe not like you can send them like trade requests and stuff like that. Maybe you live stream with them when they do the little stream, and they can make, you know what I mean? Like if it was me, that's something I would think about doing. If I was one of these WNBA players, I would start one of these online leagues. And I don't play online because I'm not paying all that money and whatever, but I would start one of these online leagues, and I would be like, well, if you want to join, you have to have either like a yearly thing, you pay me so much to be in my league, or you just pay outright for this team. So like if you want to just, you can pick your team when there's no more teams and people, but then you can sell your team to other people. So like, yeah, like maybe it's $100,000 to get this digital team in my league, but somebody's like, I want to buy your team because I want to control it, and I'll pay you $200,000 for the team. Well, whoever's running the league, that the WNBA player, let's just say Cameron Brink, she gets a cut because of the sale of the team. And the person gets a cut. Obviously, they sold her. They paid $100,000. So they're selling their team for $200,000. The government's going to get their cut, obviously, with the taxes. But you can see the more interest that happens, so the more prominent figure, this simulation will probably attract more eyes, and people will want. So like it can start out small and end up huge. So you could get in, take one of the like weak teams, right? You pay like $100,000, or maybe they just it's 50,000. I don't know. It's you get in early, and then like somebody wants to buy your team for like it could be $100 million because they want to be able to be in this league. And, you know what I mean? And you have some pretty good players to be able to compete in that league. Yeah, we need stuff like that. We need something like that. And I think that would generate a lot of attention. I think it would generate a lot of clicks, a lot of views. Since people like to watch, people play video games and people like to watch sports. And you could even implement betting into this as well. And I think it could be more realistic. Well, it's AI that controls the simulation, you know what I mean? So you don't have players that can, you're not having anyone intervene. It's just computer versus computer of the players and their attributes, what would likely happen in this scenario. The simulations aren't there yet, but they will be if we continue to make things better, which it doesn't seem like they really are, but that's something that it's just like thinking outside the box, and you can see like what can possibly happen with this. Like you can see like you're telling me that Caitlin Clark made a simulation and people are paying like hundreds of $1,000,000 to be in her league and own a team. So like these teams are almost rivaling the real teams, and maybe they become more than. People like us, people like regular people, you might be able to get in one, and it's kind of like getting to Bitcoin in 2011 or whatever. You're like somebody that just got in, like I want to get in before it gets big, and then like your team ends up like you have all these. Could you imagine you get in, and it could have been free. You know what I mean? It could have been free, and then all of a sudden like it generates so much interest where you have like rich people trying to buy your digital. You spent pennies on the dollar for this team, and because they want to be in her digital simulation. I know it sounds far-fetched. I know it sounds weird. I'm ahead of the curve on a lot of things. I connect dots. I that's the future, is just people creating their own simulations, and other people just want to be a part of them. And people will pay a lot of money for the more popular people to be a part of their simulation. The worlds they create. It's kind of like a super chat. If I was to make this live and I was a prominent figure, people are sending me super chats, and I'm answering the questions. They're a part of it. You know what I mean? That's what people like. They want to be a part of it to some extent. That's what social media is. That's what the point of this is. It isn't. It wasn't. Maybe it was. Maybe it was just to generate a ton of money. But for the rest of us, we looked at this like this whole social media invention as a way to socialize with other people. You send a super chat to a prominent. It's like, wow, that's cool. They read my super chat. That's why people send in super chats to like these famous people. I remember sending a super chat into the Tim Pool IRL show, and he read it. I thought that was pretty cool. Paid like $5 and had him read it. I think that I don't know. I don't know. I think that I don't know. I don't know. I think that's it for this video.